na ana imua ka lehu ke kahi Pano ai hele ho malila lelo ho ina mea akau
Roa hale mo ka kia mo hape pono o ko pole hale le ke manawa Bai ho lohe oi ale le ke oi ke hola Ke mai ko piko pane po o ka mauna wa kea ai ke one pupu ka hele lani aloha nui ka kou Here we are I believe day 10 or 11 I've lost count at Pu'onua, Pu'uhuluhulu, or across the street from there at the bottom of Mauna Kea Access Road. We've just been made aware of a statement by the governor, by David Ige, and we want to acknowledge that statement because for the first time ever, he has acknowledged us as protectors of Mauna Kea. In his statement, he did not once acknowledge us or refer to us as protesters. He referred to us only as protectors of Mauna Kea. He also stated that he now realizes that the issue that we are facing here is simply not just about the 30-meter telescope and the desecration of Mauna Kea. That is at the forefront of the issue, but deep within this issue is the historical marginalization and disenfranchisement of Hawaiians and our culture and our rights as a people. And he has stated in that statement that he is hopeful that we can work together to find a peaceful resolution. And so we're encouraged and we're filled with hope by the governor's new language and his ability to finally recognize us not as protesters, but as protectors of Mauna Kea, a sacred mountain, a sacred place to Kanaka, to Hawaiians. And we are again hopeful and encouraged that together we can work together, we can move forward in a way that is better and is to the benefit of all people of Hawaii. Secondly, we want to address an issue of access up the mountain. A week ago, to this day, last week Tuesday, the Mauna Kea observatories preemptively and voluntarily decided to move their operations off the Mauna. We were working with the state as best as we could to allow their access to Mauna Kea. And I want to be very clear, up until this point, we have made concession after concession after concession in allowing different vehicles up the Mauna. Water trucks have gone up. Park rangers have gone up. Law enforcement has gone up. Food trucks for Halepohaku has gone up. Other employees for Halepohaku have gone up. The National Guard has gone up. Law enforcement is coming in and going out as they wish. And we were willing, more than willing, to allow those who work in the observatories, specifically the observatory technicians, those who go up the Mauna to maintain, the operations of the telescope. We have been more than willing to allow them access up the Mauna. What we have expressed to the state, and we made it very, very clear that we had just a simple request in return. That through allowing them access, unimpeded access, unobstructed access to the Mauna anytime, we simply asked for access of one vehicle up the Mauna for religious and cultural practices that are constitutionally protected. That request was denied, and it was expressed to us that was absolutely non-negotiable. And so we are calling on the governor to make that concession. We have compromised over and over and over and over again. Again, although we have a roadblock, we have opened it up to multiple vehicles, multiple times a day. And to this point, we have still not been allowed access. Again, access that is constitutionally protected to the Mauna for cultural and religious practices. And so, we call upon the Mauna Kea observatories as well to work with us, because we do not wish to obstruct your access. But the narrative that has been pushed by the observatories and by those on Mauna Kea is that Hawaiians have to share the Mauna, right? And we've done that since 1968. But it becomes very, very difficult to share the Mauna when one side is locked out. And so again, we call upon the governor to accept our request to allow us access, again, of just one simple vehicle up the Mauna each and every day. And we call upon the observatories to support that, so that the observatories and Kanaka can have unobstructed access up the Mauna to do the things that we need to do. And I'll open up for questions if you have any.
Kaho'okahi, what does it mean to you that Big Island Mayor Harry Kim has now been put in charge of the state and county operations?
We'll see what that means. I'm hopeful that it's a positive step in the right direction, because Mayor Harry Kim, unlike the governor, has come to the Pu'uhonua o Pu'uhuluhulu himself. He's been here 3 times. He has addressed the people. He lives in this community. He knows this community. And so I'm hopeful that his leadership would be much more understanding, and I guess that we have a better path and a better chance of moving forward in a way that's beneficial to all through his leadership. That's yet to be determined. We'll see how this goes. But at this point, I'm hopeful that is a step in the right direction.
When you say beneficial to all, do you mean the TMT as well?
Yeah, because I think it would benefit the TMT to go to the Canary Islands and leave Mauna Kea. Because in order for them to get up this mountain, as we've said over and over and over again, it's tearing apart, and even the Lieutenant Josh Green has said it, it's tearing apart the fabric of our community. We're putting our own community members and our own family members on both sides of this issue. And we know, whether they'll say it or not, we know that many officers are not, they're not here because they want to be here. They are here because they're ordered to be here, because they have a job to do. But again, as we've said before, we see it on the tears that roll down their face. We can feel the eha that's in their na'au. You can see it in the images and how they treat us, and how, even when they arrested the kupuna, you can see that there's a real sign of mutual respect. And so, when I say beneficial to all, I do mean everybody. I think it's in the TMT's best interest to go to their plan B, go to the Canary Islands, get your project done without any obstruction, and it'd be beneficial to us so that we don't have to tear apart our communities and have our own community members and our own family members standing on opposite sides of an issue, when in fact, we may not want to stand on opposite sides of that issue.
This morning we did hear from Doug Ng, who is with the TMT. He is their attorney. He is still pretty adamant, though, that this is going to go through. Do you find that with this new announcement from the governor, his tone may change? Do you hope that it will change? Do you hope his perspective will change? This morning with the TRO being denied, it sounded like, we're at another ebb and flow of this situation. We're
committed, right? Whether his perspective changes or not, we are committed. Whether he calls us protesters, it will not change our stance. It will not affect anything in how we do it. But I'm hopeful that his perspective is changing, and it's not just a change in language, and it's not just mere words that he's spitting out there. But again, only time will tell what the approach of the governor and the state will be. If they continue to remain committed, that's fine, because so are we. But we are encouraged by the language of protectors, because we've been stating that for over 5 years now. And for the first time, the governor has acknowledged that. And he has also acknowledged that this is more than just a 30-meter telescope, right? We have years and years, decades and decades upon decades of disenfranchisement and marginalization of Hawaiian people. And so, if the governor truly means what he said in that statement, then I would be hopeful that we can find a way forward that's beneficial to all. But again, that falls back on the governor, and if he truly means what he put in that statement.
You've allowed access to numerous people up the mountain. You're asking for them to allow the 1 car a day. If they don't, then what?
If they don't, then we're committed to continuing our stand here. Again, the call upon Hawaiians for all these years has been that we must share the mountain. We must share the mountain. And we have shared it. And even in this stand, while we're standing against the further desecration of Mauna Kea through the building of the 30-meter telescope, we have made concessions each and every day by allowing the vehicles up, like I expressed earlier. And so, we're not being unreasonable, right? We have a roadblock and we're allowing people through. It's the roadblock that stands behind me that does not allow Kanaka through. And so, as Kanaka of this place, again, who have constitutionally protected rights to access that Mauna, it's very, very unreasonable for us to ask for simply just 1 vehicle a day. And so, now it's on the state. If they can be reasonable, then this shouldn't be an issue. And to the observers too, those of the observatories, they should be standing for our right to access the Mauna, because we have just as much of a right to be there, more than a right to be there, than they do. And we are supportive of their ability to access Mauna Kea. We want to open the road for them. All we're asking in return is for the ability to take one vehicle up a day for cultural and religious practices.
Was there an attempt by somebody connected to the observatories to go up today?
Gemini arrived. We expressed to them the situation, and we told them that we want to work together and ensure that they can make it up the mountain today as quickly as possible. They pulled to the side. They sat there for about 15 minutes, and without any communication to us, they turned around and drove away. When I saw that, I ran to them. And I was huffing and puffing when I got there. And I expressed to them that we want to work together. We want to find a solution to this. And all we're asking is that you guys work with us as well, right? Express the fact that you feel that we should have access to the Mauna, that you do not support Kanaka being locked out from our sacred places. It's a simple request, right? And we asked them, to also express that they wouldn't support the use of excessive force and the National Guard on peaceful protectors again, not protesters, but protectors. And so, in my opinion, that's a that's an easy request to answer. Again, we know we have rights there. We've allowed them access before. We are willing to do it again. We're just asking for a little support. We understand that they don't have power and authority. However, even more so, it's even easier for them to go ahead and make a statement and saying that we support the rights of Native Hawaiians to access Mauna Kea, as is constitutionally protected. And so if we can work together, if they're willing to work with us on that, then I told them this morning, we could get this done in 20 minutes. And you can be up that Mauna in 30 minutes, and there's no issue. But they decided to turn around. I ran after them. I asked them again, please reach out to us at any time. Come back today. Come back in 20 minutes. Come back in an hour. Come back at 5 o'clock. Whenever it is. We are not making a irreversible stance on this. We're simply asking that we work together so that we can both have access to the place that we need to go to.
Can you clarify, did anybody stop the Gemini folks from, and I don't know where they were, but did anybody stop them, including law enforcement or? They stopped here in the middle of the road. We had a conversation with them. And that was a conversation that was, I guess, observed by Kia'i as well as law enforcement officers. We asked them to move on the side so that we could communicate a little bit more. They told us that they were going to reach out to their advisors and their superiors, and they were going to get back to us, at which point we noticed them turning around. Again, I ran after them. I expressed my concern that we wanted to work together, and they said that they would be going down the mountain, and at that point it's up to them. But I told them we want to work together. Let us help you. Just help us a little bit too.
If they were to allow a vehicle up a day for culture practices, what do you think that would say, and how might that change the tenor of the discussion or things going forward?
I think what that would say is that we're following the Constitution, and that we're upholding the laws and the protections and the rights that we have as Kanaka, which I believe is the kuleana of the state. It's their obligation to uphold the laws and the language and the policies in the Constitution. Again, we're constitutionally protected. So that would show, that would just show some sense of pono, in a sense, at the very lowest level of it. But it would be a sense of pono that, again, it's one vehicle a day. We have rights to be there. We should not be locked out in the first place. We should have unimpeded access as much as we want, right? We should be able to take as many vehicles, as many people as we want each and every day. But we are being reasonable. We are being understanding of the situation, and we have to understand, to ask for one vehicle a day, that's hard for us, because we know we deserve more. We know it's our right for more. But again, we're not the ones who are being unreasonable. We're willing to work with people. One vehicle a day. They've shot that down. It's been a whole week since that happened. It was last week Tuesday that we made that request. It was denied. It's continued to be denied, and we're hopeful that again, with all parties working together, that we can all have unobstructed access to Mauna Kea to do the things that we need to do.
Thank you.
Mahalo, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.